Okay, I went over it a little bit quick, but I want to go back to the step that I was talking about regarding the power walls. If you haven't already done so, make sure you check out part 1 of the video first. So what exactly is the Powerwall? The Powerwall essentially is a very large battery for your home. This is what provides that power backup for the home. A lot of people are familiar with generators. So the Powerwall works just like a generator, with the exception that there's no external fuel that you need to provide to the Powerwall aside from the energy that it gets from the grid or the sun via your solar panels. So one of the things that's a little bit different with the Powerwall is because it is a battery, it does help protect your home from power surges, as well as it provides the battery backup in the event of power loss. If you think about solar in general, the sun is up during the daytime, you're producing a lot of power, but then the evening comes, the sun's not up, so your solar system isn't doing anything at that time. That's where the Powerwalls become so effective. So what you can do is you can charge your power walls during the daytime, maximize that sun energy, and then when the nighttime comes and when your panels are no longer creating energy, you can use the energy that you've stored in your power walls during the day to now power your home in the evening. To me, this just makes sense, and this is the best way to get the most out of your overall solar system. After the order, you're going to get contacted by Tesla for a consultation. During that time, I spent about 30 minutes on the video chat, just confirming why I wanted solar, what the system was about, what I was looking for, and if I had any questions. After the consultation, I had to upload some documents into Tesla's portal, as well as I picked my options for paying for the system. From there, a site assessment was scheduled. As far as the site assessment goes, this lasted quite a few hours. In fact, the estimate was a range of 2 to 6 hours, and I want to say my site assessment took roughly 4. So part of this assessment, they went on my roof, they went in the attic, as well as my garage and overall exterior of the property. They took a bunch of photos and a lot of measurements. After the site assessment was completed, it took a couple days, but Tesla got back to me with an updated system size and configuration. For me, I had an overall reduction in the size of the system from when I originally set up to what it came out to be after the site assessment. The main reason for this is Tesla cannot install the panels over any obstructions that you have in your roof. So you think about things like bathroom vents, as well as there's fire code as far as how close the panels can be to the edge of the roof. So when you do the initial assessment, it doesn't account for any of those. And then once you have the site assessment done in person, they come out, they take more accurate measurements and can figure out exactly where panels can go and where they cannot. So for me, when I first quoted it, my original system was spec'd at 22 kilowatts. After the site assessment was completed, it bumped all the way down to 14 kilowatts. Now, because the design has changed, you're going to get prompted from Tesla again to go over the paperwork and e-document sign the changes. At this point, this is the finalized design. This is your last opportunity to change how many power walls you may want, as well as you're going to lock in the location of where the power walls are going to go. You also want to pay close attention because you may have more than one system design option. In my case, Tesla did have one other design option, which was a 12 kilowatt system. And what that did is it removed some of the panels that were on the front side of my house, but I elected for the larger system, which again was 14 kilowatts. After you finalize the design, Tesla is going to submit your paperwork to your local authorities. This includes permits as well as contacting your local energy company. At this stage, Tesla will ask you if you have an HOA or not. If you do, there are going to be some unique steps that you have to follow because you have an HOA. In my case, I do have an HOA, so there were some additional steps that I did have to follow. My HOA required me to submit paperwork to them to get permission to install the system, which I did, as well as I had to complete paperwork for Tesla, notifying them that I had an HOA and that I was looking at the rules and making sure that the Tesla system would fall within those guidelines. So in my case, my HOA required that the raceways that Tesla installs that connect your panels from the roof to where they enter into the home, they had to be painted to match the exterior of the home. Luckily, Tesla does offer this as a service. It costs roughly $500 in my case, but you do have to provide your own paint. Every customer, every city, every location is going to be slightly different. Some are going to take longer than others, But in my case, it took about 2 or 3 weeks for that approval. We got permission to schedule the installation. When I scheduled my installation, the closest appointment was roughly a month out. So we waited and waited and waited, and then finally installation day came. Because I had a larger system, Tesla estimated that it would take 2 days to do the complete install for my system. And like clockwork, the team showed up on time. They showed up to the door, they walked me through the plan for the next couple of days, and then the team went to work securing the property, putting up perimeters and things like that for caution for anybody going in and out of the home, and they proceeded to perform the install. Day 1 of the install, the team really focused on the wiring on the exterior of the home and getting the power wall started. Day 2 of the install, the team started to work on moving over the circuit breakers. In order to do this, they had shut my power off in the home for roughly 6 hours. This is so that way they can move all of those circuits from the old breaker to the new breaker that essentially was going to be backed up by the power walls. Somewhere during the day, during day 2, the team realized they had not made as much progress as they needed to, and that they were not going to finish up. Part of this is because where I live, the city requires things such as, a sprinkler system. You have to have some kind of alarm notification, as well as ballards installed in the garage to protect cars or doors or anything from damaging the power wall. So in my case, my garage, I had the sprinkler systems, I had the alarm system, I had all of those things, but the ballards and a few of the other things were just going to take a little bit more time than what the team had left in the day on day 2. And at that point, they set me up for a 3rd install day. Because this 3rd day was unplanned, they had to schedule it roughly about another week out. All right, so day 3 comes, the team comes out, they're on time, just like they previously had been, and they button things up. They overall connect the panels to the power walls. They finish buttoning up some minor wiring, and then they start commissioning and getting the power walls connected to the internet and getting things connected to Tesla servers. So towards the end of the day, the team was able to step me through how the system actually works. This is going to be different city to city, state to state, but in my case, because I did have the power walls, my city allowed me to install and essentially function right away. However, I just could not export any energy to the grid, but I was able to energize my solar panels, use them to charge my power walls, and I can use the power walls as battery backup. My system essentially was functioning day 3, with the exception of the net metering and being able to export that power back to the grid. For those that may not be familiar with net metering, what that is if you produce more solar than you use, you're able to essentially sell that surplus energy back to the energy company, and in turn, they'll give you some level of credit for that. My system again is functioning, so the next step for me was to get an external inspection. I didn't have to do anything. Tesla set all this up. They scheduled this external inspection. The inspection came and I did not pass the first time. The inspector caught some very minor things that the team had to go back and fix. And in some cases, they had the wrong style breaker in a couple different areas. He made some recommendations for some of the wiring. Not going to get into the specifics because that's going to end up being different for every single person. I'm just highlighting that everything does not always go according to plan. And in my case, I did not pass inspection the first time, but we did pass the second time. With the inspection passed and the system signed off, Tesla submitted my paperwork to the local utility company to get permission to operate. This is the part where with net metering, this would allow me to sell my excess energy back to the grid. And that submission was rejected. And then it was rejected again. And then it was rejected again. So as of this recording, I still do not have permission to operate. And I'm about 7 months into when my process was first started. Make sure you like, subscribe, and sign up for notifications for when I post an update, and hopefully get my system fully functioning.